Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. Today I want to show you how to make these really cute gift bags from just simple cardstock using one of my SVG files and Cricut Design Space. So these bags are really adorable because they have, this one pattern here and then they have this accent pattern all the way across the top. The way we do that is by using double-sided cardstock. So this cardstock has this floral pattern on one side and the stripes on the other side. And that is really the trick to getting the bags to look as cute as they do. And then you just need some ribbon or some twine to make your handles, some scissors, and some craft glue. And I really like this craft bond, but you can really use any kind of glue or even double-sided tape. It's really up to you. For the paper, I get all of my scrapbook paper or cardstock from scrapbook.com, and I will link to that so you can pick out some beautiful paper of your own. And then I'll also link to the SVG file that you'll need to create this. Okay, so let's get started in Design Space, and I will show you how to get the bags cut out, and then I'll show you how to assemble them. First of all, let's open Design Space, and then we need to go get the file, the SVG file, to create the gift bag. So you'll come to Upload, then Upload Image, and browse for the file. This one is called Gift Bag, and you'll need to purchase this file from my Etsy shop or my website in order to make this project. The file is only $1.99. Okay, so when you go to upload it, you're going to get this warning that it contains text elements. Just hit continue. And the reason that warning is there is because I have this text warning on the file letting you know, some important instructions. So we've got the file here. Just click upload and then select it and insert it into your project. Okay. So what we have here, you must change the red cut lines to score lines before cutting, and then delete this text before cutting. That is super important. If you do not do this, you will get a bunch of squares instead of a gift bag. So I'm going to ungroup this project so that I can delete this text. So ungroup, and then I can select this text, and I can hit backspace to delete it. Okay. Before you move anything else, let's leave everything right where it is for now so that we can get these score lines put in there the way we need them to be. What I was talking about, if I select this, you can see it's red over here and it says basic cut. Let's change it to score. And you'll notice that those solid lines turned into dotted lines. They are now score lines. I'm going to click the back button. We'll do that again. Select this first little thing right here, this little bunch of lines that says basic cut. Come over here and change it to a score. Okay, we want to do the same thing on this one, this little square of lines. Let's change it from a cut to a score. Okay, so now we have all of our score lines in there, but we need to attach the score line to the piece of cardstock that they go on. So before you move anything, just keep working over here in your Layers tab. I want you to select this score line and also select the basic cut design. I'm on a Windows PC, so I just hold down Shift and select them both, and then I can attach them. Again, I've selected this. I'm holding Shift, selecting this layer, and attaching them. If you're on a Mac, I believe you just hold the first and then Command and click the second, and you'll be able to get them both attached. Okay, so now I have this layer and this layer. I'm going to reduce the size of my screen so you can see this a little better. So I have this layer here with the score lines attached to it, and this layer here again with the score lines attached to it. These layers are pretty similar. The only difference really is that this one has some squares cut out of the bottom. Okay, now it comes to sizing. You can see that right now these are too big. If I click this little arrow, it says that I need to reduce it to 11.5 to be able to fit on the mat. So that's the biggest size you're going to be able to make on a basic standard Cricut mat. I'm going to put these both on top of each other again, and I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to align them perfectly so that they are both exactly one on top of the other, and then I can resize them at the same time. You have to resize these at the same time so that they are both exactly the same size. I've got both of them selected now. I'm going to change the height to 11.5. And now if I move them around, they're both the same size, and they will both fit on a standard 12 by 12 mat. That's going to make the big bag that you see here. If you want smaller bags, we can do this whole process again. Group them both together, align, center so they are 100% aligned up. And let's change this to 8. Now we're going to have some smaller bags. So I'm going to go ahead and click Make It, and we're going to make these smaller bags. Okay, so you will need 2 pieces of cardstock per bag, unless you're making teeny tiny like 5-inch bags, and then you can get away with 1 piece of cardstock. So you can see mat 1 will have the solid, and mat 2 will have the ones with the little squares cut out. I'm going to go ahead and send this through the Cricut. So we're going to switch camera views, and I'll show you how we do it. Okay, so here I have the cardstock put on my light grip Cricut mat, and if you are using a pattern that has lines or stripes or chevron or anything that's got a straight line to it, it is so super important that you get it perfectly straight on your mat, because if your paper is not perfectly straight, your design will not be perfectly straight. You also have to make sure you get it into the Cricut machine perfectly straight, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay, so my Cricut is ready to cut the design. We've already put the cardstock on our mat perfectly straight, but now we need to get it into the machine perfectly straight, and sometimes the little rollers can feed it in at just the slightest bit of an angle, and you have to prevent that from happening. So what you want to do, you want to come to your left guard. Ignore your right guard over here. I mean, obviously put the mat underneath it, but don't worry about it touching. Come to your left guard and make sure it is 100% flush up against that left guard. You're going to have a little bit of space over here on the right guard. Don't worry about that. So 100% flush on the left guard, and then push in so that it is perfectly flush with both of your gray rollers on either side, and 100% flush on your left guard. If you do that, it will be straight. Hold it in and load it. I have this set to light cardstock because this is a light cardstock. I mean, it just depends on what paper you chose. If you got something that was more textured or thicker, you know, change the settings on your machine to what you would normally want them to be. Okay, we're gonna hit go. The fun process of videos here, I forgot I need to score this as well. So I grabbed my scoring tool. I'm just going to load it real quick. Hold on. Now it's loaded. I'm going to reload my paper so that again it is perfectly straight. I could have edited all that out, but hey, I make mistakes too, so we're just going to leave that in. Okay. So now it's going to make my score lines and then cut. Let's go. Okay, this one is done. Let me pull it off the mat. And let me get this piece off. And you'll be able to see how perfectly straight the lines are because I made sure that it was straight on the paper and straight into the machine. I need to cut the next one, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back and show you how to assemble it. Okay, so here I have both of my pieces cut out of the cardstock, and I need to assemble them. So first, just come along your score lines and fold everything on the lines to get it creased. You can decide, you know, if you want this to be the outside, then you're going to make sure to fold this flap down. If you want this to be the outside, then you'll fold this flap down. And just fold it along the score lines. You can fold by hand. You can use, you know, your Cricut tools to get it really creased in there if you want. And you'll notice your little holes here. I don't know if you can see those. They line up for you to put your string in. And just crease them in. It doesn't matter which side you start with, whether you're starting with this one or this one, it doesn't matter. Just get all your paper folded in. Okay, so here's this one all folded up. And now I will do this one the same way. You'll notice on this one there's an extra flap. You don't need to mess with that right now. You'll see where that fits in when we're assembling everything. Okay. So now, what you want to do is take this one that has the extra flap and place it on top of your other one. The other side might look a little better for you to see. You're going to place your extra flap on top of your other piece of cardstock so that it fits together like a puzzle. And you want to glue it together. So I've got my glue. I'm going to come to the side that I want to glue to my other side. So if I want to glue this part here to this part here, I'm going to put my glue down. I'm going to come around the edges. Come on, glue. Don't run out on me now. And then just squiggle some throughout the middle. Okay. Line it up and glue it down. Now, like I said, you can use tape, you can use glue, you can use whatever you want to attach these. There is one reason I am super fond of the glue, is because I have wiggle room. I have a little bit of time to manipulate these pieces once I glue them together to make sure they are 100% perfectly lined up. If you're using double-sided tape or, you know, a more fast-acting glue, you're not going to have the opportunity to do that. Okay. So these are now glued together, and we just kind of created the bottom of our bag. Oh, I forgot to score, or I forgot to fold on that score line. Okay, so the next part is you want to pick your box up. So you've made the bottom, you now want to pick it up and make the sides. Let me fold these guys in. So now you can decide what you want to be the front and what you want to be the back. It really doesn't matter unless you just happen to have a cleaner look on one side than the other. That's how that's going to fold together. If I put it the other way, it's going to fold together like that. It doesn't matter which way you go with it, unless, you know, something on your paper just doesn't look right, or the design of your paper looks better on one side than the other. Just pick how you want to fold it. So I'm going to make this side be my inside and this side be my outside. So it's going to come together like this. Inside, outside. come together. So what I need to do are glue these flaps to my insides. I'm going to get the glue, put it on here again, and I'm going to get the other side ready because I want to work quickly once I get this going. Bring it up and glue it together. I'm gluing this to the flap just like that. And make sure that it's good and squared. If you have something a little off, if it's not, you know, perfectly squared, your bag's going to be crooked. Okay, something else. I could have glued this flap down. It's not really necessary to do unless you just want to. I'll just put a couple dots to hold it in place. But I mean, it's not super necessary to glue these flaps down. Okay. And then since I did it on, well, stick there for me. Hold it for a second, let it get a good stick. Since I did do it on that side, I'll go ahead and do it on this side too. So just put a little glue here and a little glue here just to hold that flap really secure. My glue doesn't want to come out. I told you can't run out on me right now, glue. I told you can't. Okay, so there's that side glued. Yeah, and that's all we're going to do now is attach our front. We've made our back. We're going to fold it up, glue our fronts, and we're going to have this bag done. So let's get the glue on, if I have enough. Please last glue. And I'll come to the other side. You want to make sure you really get around the edges. Just pick it up and glue it on. Super simple to make these boxes. I'm going to put that down that way so that it can kind of get a good bond. And I'll hold this one in place for just a second to make sure it gets a good bond. What happened there? It was a little off. Yeah, you want to come and just make sure that every part of your box is perfectly squared so that you don't end up with a wonky box when you're done. I'm just securing all the glue so that it sticks together nicely. But I mean, so far, here's the bag we've got. It's really, really coming together. Close up the glue. Okay, so now it's time to make the handle. You can use anything you want. String, twine, ribbon, lace, it does not matter. You just want to measure out what you think you'll need. So I'm going to put that in there. So that's about the size of handle I would want. So I'm just going to cut down here. And I'm going to make my other string the exact same size, so I'll just measure it out this way. There they are. Cut. Okay. And there's different methods for how you want to do this. I mean, you could put it in and have 2 strings coming up, but just the simple method, I'm going to tie a knot in this, just a standard knot. Nothing fancy. I can't get it. It's such a silky ribbon. I can't get the loop. Okay. And make it as close to the end as you can get it. Then you take your other end and poke it through your holes. So this is thicker ribbon. I'm gonna have to fold it a few times to get it to fit through this little hole here. There it is. Pull it through, the tie will hold it. Get it nice and straight how you want it. Push it back through the other side, from the front to the back now. The first one we did from the back to the front. On the bigger gift bags, these holes are bigger, but the smaller gift bags, these holes are pretty tiny. Okay. And now we're going to tie our second knot to secure this in place. Whoop, come here, bag. So there's our first loop, our first little handle. We're going to do the exact same thing for this one. I'm probably going to speed it up. And there it is. You have got a cardstock gift bag. You can make these in, different ranges of sizes, just depending on how big or small you put the file in Design Space. You can put the tissue paper in like the example I had. You can even, once this dries, let me get the dried one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Once it's fully dry, you can fold in the sides if you want. I wouldn't suggest doing this when it's wet, but that's something you can do on your dried ones to give it more of that bag look. And then you'll have your folded insides. But that's all there is to it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the project. We'll see you next time.